All righty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalie Obregon. I'm one of the Workforce Solutions Capital Areas Outreach Specialists. Joining our panel today, I work in North Austin AISD, and I'm really excited to have Crystal, Edward, and Danny here today to talk about resources for small businesses and what are the tools that you need to succeed for your business. So just a quick rundown, I'm going to be asking the questions alternating sequence. We have until 12:30. So just want to give a quick time check, make sure we're good to go. And so let's get started. We'll start with Crystal. For the first question that we have today is, Crystal, just briefly speak about your educational background and the job experience that has led you to where you are today with your business. If you want to also give insight to what the business is.
Hello, good morning to everyone out there. Thank you again for the Workforce Solutions Capital Area for putting this event together. I think this is a perfect time for people to start a business. I know it sounds weird, but sometimes I think when we are facing with challenges is when we can be most innovative. And I would say that in my background, I been in business now for 11 years at Op Solutions. We provide workforce development, employee learning and training solutions for government agencies, nonprofits, and corporations and small businesses. But we weren't always doing that. So previously, I served as director of college relations for Lee College, which is a community college in Baytown, Texas. And my experience was more in higher education. And one day I decided, like, I'm done. That's all I can say. And I decided to take the leap of faith into entrepreneurship. And that was no easy leap of faith to say you leave from an executive leadership position. We have, benefits and security to actually start this journey in entrepreneurship. And back then at Op Solutions, the goal was to work back with higher education because all of my years of experience and training was in that area. But I went a different path. And so I think that where it's important for me to recognize my bachelor's degree, I think helped me with that. Everything was in business, my MBA, and now I am almost completed, woo, with my PhD in leadership studies, and I'm focusing on entrepreneurial leadership. So taking in my experience as an entrepreneur and looking at the different leadership styles that you have to have in order to launch, grow, and sustain your company. So I think all of that combined, and the reason why it's taking so long to get that PhD is growing this business. So I think all that combined helped me to be successful with my company.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal, for that. That's great. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. PhDs are no laughing matter. That's
No.
great. Edward, can you go ahead now and give us a bit of insight into your educational background and what has led you to your success today?
Sure. Well, thank you again for the invitation to be a part of this forum. It's always exciting to partner with Workforce Solutions and other entities around the community that really are trying to get folks off the ground and running and be all the best that they can be. So I appreciate the invitation. So I'm Edward Campos. I'm the interim director for the Small Minority Business Resources Department with the City of Austin. And my educational background, I have a bachelor's in marketing and a master of science from St. Mary's University. And I've been working in the areas of economic development, contracting, procurement for 30 years or so. Started very young when I was 10, so I'm only 40. That's not true. Um, and it speaks to me in working in government for the last 30 years. It just speaks to trying to make sure that we're doing all that we can as public servants and as civil servants to better the lives of the community and to do everything that we can from a policy and administrative perspective to make things easy for folks, efficient for folks, and trying to make sure we're opening doors where doors were previously closed. And that's pretty much the job of SMBR, is to look at potential opportunities for our certified, and I'm sure you'll hear this term a lot, our certified vendors that are minority owned or women owned or small businesses as well. Try to get them their foot in the door with working on city contracts So that's the gist of what we do on a daily basis with my staff. And, we're always excited to have new opportunities to speak before an audience and inform them of different resources that are out there for them. So I appreciate it again, the opportunity to be part of the forum.
I'm so happy that you were able to make it, Edward, because it's funny that this, this idea of this event in entrepreneurship it's kind of a new thing, like Workforce Solutions, we're always having hiring events, we're doing that as our service to community, but small businesses, we kind of don't talk about that too much. So I think that that's definitely goes a long way, and that's why.
So
say it again.
It's the backbone of the economy, so it's really important that we look at small business. So I'm glad.
Yeah, thanks. Awesome. Danny, can I pass the baton on to you? So can you speak a little bit about your educational background and that job experience? How did it bring you to where you are?
Sure. I would echo Crystal and Edward's comments, thanking Workforce Solutions for this invitation, and thank you, Natalie. My name is Danny Brewer. I am with the City of Austin Small Business Program. I am a small business consultant going on 9 years with the program. I was brought into the program to lead our incubator space. It's now defunct. It was called the Business Solution Center. I am the main facilitator for 2 of our classes. We have one that's an introduction class to small business resources within the city and business planning. I'm the main facilitator of that one. It's called BizAid. And there's another class that we offer that is an introduction to permitting and zoning for small businesses. That one's called BizOpen. So I teach those 2 classes. Educationally, I am a certified small business consultant with the Association of Accredited Small Business Consultants. I have a nonprofit management certificate from the University of Texas, and I have a master's in business administration. So again, thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you for being here, Danny. So yes, again, another City of Austin employee. So definitely need to support our community with the professionals that are in those departments. So thank you, Danny, for that insight. And yeah, it seems like we have a great educational spectrum with our panelists today. I'm excited to talk to students, right, about what degree they need. What degree do they need to seek out? So that's part of the reason also why I want to know about your educational background. So thank you. So question number 2, we'll kind of change up the order a little bit to keep it fresh. Actually, Danny, would you be minding to go for this first one? What has been most helpful to you in growing a business? And for example, like small business loans or mentorships from experienced business owners. And what do you see as those viable things for someone to grow a business?
Right. So I don't have a business, but we've been, like I said, I've been working with small businesses for many years. And when most small businesses start, it is a team of 1 person, maybe a partnership, 2 people. And so a lot of their ideas that they have is internal. Everything sounds like a good idea at the time. So what we recommend is to get some feedback, professional feedback. There's a lot of resources here in Austin that can provide that professional feedback to make sure your ideas are sound and they can happen. So business coaching, there's a lot of free business coaches here that can provide you sound advice. Mentors, if you do not have a business mentors, there's free business mentors within the City of Austin that can be with you for the life of your business. They can help you with finances. They can provide sage advice. The business coach can be in front with your business plan and your marketing plan. And also, what we strongly recommend is a lot of people may have experience in their trade. Maybe they're a baker and they know how to bake, but they're not business savvy. So there's a lot of educational opportunities here. So I know us at the City of Austin Small Business Program, we have contract with the University of Texas to teach our business classes. So these business classes right now are free online. So you can take anything from marketing, the business plan, finances, You can go to our website and you can take them free. After 6 classes, you get a certificate from the City of Austin and a certificate from the University of Texas. The last thing I would say is financially for small businesses, it's tough to get money. Banks typically do not lend to small businesses. Luckily for you, there's community lenders, organizations like People Fund, BCL of Texas, Big Austin. Connect with these organizations, and they have in-house business coaching and community lenders that can one-stop shop, get you the coaching and the funding that you need.
Great resource, Danny. Thank you so much for that, because yes, again, that's those things that maybe people don't really realize that are free. I heard the word free in there. So that's a huge buzzword that I want everyone to know, that a lot of the times we think like, wow, these resources are so great. It must be a price to this. And people don't realize that there are a lot of things that you can get for very low cost to start a business. So very important to note that. Thank you. Crystal, would you be able to go on next and say what has been the most helpful for you in your business with EdOps solutions? So kind of like, you know, the examples that are up on that screen. What could you say?
Well, when I first took the leap of faith, I actually did had a business partnership, what Danny was talking about before. So I actually started the company with a coworker, and when we first started, we didn't have a business plan because we just had passion to make this happen. But then going to places like SCORE, SBDC actually helped us to put our business plan together. However, over time, the company changed. And so what we initially started off doing was actually small business coaching, development, and training. We would work with entrepreneurs to help them take their business from ideal to reality. And as we began in that area, the businesses got bigger. And so as the companies got bigger, our need for resources as a company got bigger. And so, yes, the certification programs, I'm sure Edward will talk about that, that helped us to leverage growing our company because it provides you with credibility. Also, I think that when we went to open up our checking account, we went to Capital One. And at that time, Capital One had just started the Getting Down to Business program. And we took off basically after we became a part of that Getting Down to Business program. So anytime there's like a small business development program where you have to take the classes, they help you out with the business plan, you get connections and networks, that has been very beneficial for our company. Along the way, my business partner and myself departed. I actually had to terminate her. Don't tell y'all, don't tell her that, you know what I'm saying? But I had to let her go because the visions weren't the same. And so as I kept going, I needed additional resources to as you enter the growth stage of your business, the strategies that you do and the resources and support that you need looks a little bit different than when you have your startup company. And so at that level, I needed to work more to have relationships with our banks to secure lines of credit and loans. I needed to identify a capital firm. I needed to look at how we can increase our leverage with government agencies because now that's our customer base right now. So I had to learn about the RFP process, the contracting process. And how did I do that? I connected with other small businesses. I got mentorship for business owners who were experienced. I leveraged my certification working with the city to provide that training, that technical assistance. And I did a lot of research. I don't think people recognize that you can Google anything, okay? So I did a lot of research, a lot of free webinars and seminars to kind of perfect my craft in this area. I think what you have to realize is that you have to look up and look out to grow your business. Sometimes you can work in your business and you get stuck, but if you take a time to look up and look out. Programs like the Goldman Sachs 10,000, 100,000 businesses, those help you as well. Anytime that you can be around other entrepreneurs who are willing to share and give back to you, you treasure those moments to help you grow your business. And I think all that has led to our success as a company, and to expanding our networks. I would also say that you have to put yourself out there. I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we have an ideal, we have passion, we have purpose, but we don't know what to do with it. And what you have to do is just go. You got to stop overthinking, self-doubting, self-criticizing yourself. Put yourself out there, launch that social media page for your business, make connections, because through those connections, you'll be able to grow your business and accomplish your goals. So I think everything helps to grow your business and make a difference in what you're doing for your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you,
So
Crystal.
hopefully that makes sense to everybody.
I think you sure did. I mean, you covered the examples that we have on the question, but also it's funny to know, and Shannon would agree, since we're on our second panel of the day, that personal or soft skills rather have come into conversation more than technical skills, which obviously, yes. It's Crystal getting your PhD. I would consider that a technical skill. I think it is very humbling though to say that, like, you know how you said you can Google anything, you know, and it's like, you're not above that. You are, you know, true and true, just like, how is the phrase? But anyway, yeah, like, you can do so much on your own, and that's very impactful for students that could be hearing that. It's like, where do I start? Like, there are many ways. Google could be your first try, you know. So that researching heart that you have, it's definitely useful for sure. Awesome. And yes, I just wanted to reiterate before, Edward, you can answer this question, that our Q&A is open for our audience. Thank you, Danny, for answering that question that we have coming in. So you can check that out. We have our answers there, because I would definitely want the audience to ask any questions so we can answer them as appropriately. So thank you for that, Danny. And Edward, so now your turn. What has been the most helpful, do you think, in growing your business? If you don't have one, then, you know, for what you've seen with the people that you work with in the city?
Sure. So I think that all the items that you have here are certainly important. I don't think anybody will dispute that. You need to know where to get capital. You need to, if you can, do some sort of a mentor protege with a successful company that is either in your line of work or just a firm that's successful that you look up to. And then working at, you know, your previous experience with in your history. I think all those are awesome. But I think there are two things that were touched on by Crystal and by Danny. And I think those are two critical pieces that people really forget. And what I've seen is when companies go under, or they don't grow as fast as they maybe should or could, it's based on two things. And one is networking. You have to make sure that you're attending events. And I know that when you're a small business owner, it's hard to be out there, right? Because you want to be running your business. But part of running that business is making sure people know who you are, understand and know the services that you provide, shaking hands. A lot of times companies that are looking for either smaller companies to partner with, if they don't know you, they're not going to use you. That's just business. They need to know who you are. It's all about relationship building. So if you can have that, and I am the type of person who is innately shy, but if you're shy, that's not going to help you. You have to push through that. So go out there, you know, shake hands, have your business cards ready. You can even have a little one-page flyer that says what you are, what service you provide. That's so extremely important that we always encourage the networking perspective, the relationship building. Even with, if you are interested in doing business with the city, go and visit the procurement offices that are based in the city. Come talk to us as our department. We will help you. But you have to, as Crystal said, you have to put yourself out there. Your business is not going to grow if you're just in your office and sending emails, because that's not going to work. It'll work a little bit, but you really need to make sure that you're out there pressing the flesh. And then the second thing, and Danny mentioned this, and this is something that we see quite a bit in terms of a pitfall for businesses not growing, is they are excellent in the skill set that they provide, whether it be a trade or whether it be providing a consulting services. They have the utmost in terms of a skill set. What they don't have, however, is the business acumen. They don't know how to put together a bid. They don't know how to put together a successful proposal. Those are things you need to have in your back pocket, because you're going to have to put together a bid to do your business. And if you're not covering all the areas that your business is going to have as an expense, then guess what? You're going to lose money on that bid. You may be the low bidder, but you're not going to make any money. And that's what you're in business for, to make money. So you have to know, how do I put together my bid so that it's low, it's attractive to other companies or other entities, but I'm still going to make a profit out of this. That's what we're here for. That's what the business is here for. So I would say if you know, there are a lot of, as Crystal mentioned, and Danny as well, there are a lot of resources out there that'll help you, you know, how to do business with the city of Austin, how to do business with, you know, Travis County or the state of Texas. There are resources out there if you are interested, but you must know how to put together your bid and how to put together a successful proposal, because other folks that are reading through those things, they don't know who you are. So they need to know that, hey, you know what, they covered everything that they needed and it can be quite daunting. That's why you need to make sure you take advantage of the resources that are available to you. And there are lots of folks like myself who will sit down with you and walk you through whatever you need help with. Now, we can't tell you how to bid because we're not in your business, but we can at least point you to resources that'll assist you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Edward. That was going to be my next question, just to plug it in. Like, where would you be the resource that they could go to? Answer that question.
Well, one of them.
Anyway. One of them, yes. So for our audience, one of many. So that's really exciting. And a question that I had following up with that would be basically for the students, like, what is a bid? What does that even look like? What does that word mean? Really quickly.
Sure. So whenever an entity or a private company is looking for a service or an item, they will go out and they will ask for a bid. And a bid basically means, hey, to make it very simple, I need to buy 100 pencils. What is your cost to provide me with the 100 pencils that I need? And they will give you what we call specifications to tell you, I need the pencil to be 6 inches long. I need it to have a lead point. I need it to be in a yellow color. I mean, they will tell you everything that they need, and then you provide them with a cost for that particular pencil or that particular service that they're looking for. But you need to know, what is the cost that it's going to really cost me to provide this item or service to your either your business or the city of Austin or Travis County, whatever the case may be. You have to know what the back end costs are going to be for you, so that at the end of the day, when you submit that bid and they take it, it's going to make you money and not cost you money. Because if it's costing you money, then your bid is bad. And so those are the things that you need to look at. And the same thing for a proposal. Proposals are usually a little bit more robust. You tell a little bit more about your company. You tell a little bit more about you as a business owner. If they're asking for what we call a project manager, which is somebody who's going to, you know, once they're awarded a contract, they're going to take that project and run through it and make sure that they are meeting with the entity that needs that service. You need to kind of build your profile and have pictures and not have any grammatical errors on your proposal. I mean, little things like that are, cost your business a lot. If it looks sloppy, the fonts are all different. The pages are wrong. I mean, we see this all the time, and it's a testament. People will look at a sloppy work like that as a testament to, well, if they don't even put the time to put their proposal together correctly, what is their work product going to be at the end of the day? And do we really want to trust them with this? So there are folks around the city, like I said, who will kind of walk you through and say, hey, you know what, I'm interested in this bid. I know it bid, last year, but can I see what others bid in the past? We will give you that information. If you want to look through a proposal that somebody submitted before, we will let you look at proposals. So all you have to do is reach out and ask those types of questions.
Awesome. Love that. Thank you, Edward. That was great. So again, can't reiterate it enough. The resources are out there. You just got to ask. So asking you shall receive. Awesome. Let's move on to that third question. Thank you all for those insights. So let's start with Crystal now. Crystal, in a perfect world, what type of support do you wish that you had when you were growing your business? You kind of touched on this before, but just everything is aligned. What's the first thing you can just touch and grab and get support with?
Um, I would just say in the perfect world, I even though like, everything's not perfect right now, I do really feel good that I have a good team of people at Op Solutions. So the people that support in achieving our company's mission. We call them our core team. I have a few of them in the room right now. So shout out to Ms. Hannah and our intern, Alva. So even our interns that are part of our company, we couldn't grow without good people, without good talent. So making sure that you are aligned with people who understands your company's purpose and puts their commitment and dedication to your company's perfect, because as you grow your business, there's going to be struggles, there's going to be ups and downs, but you can only do it with people. I couldn't do it without my vice president of strategic partnership, Pat Butler. He probably would be mad that I didn't say that he was part of the growth, because he is the growth strategy for the company. But people, I would say my friends, I kind of have a alliance of other small business women owners. We call like my little tribe. And so we kind of stick together. It's like 3 to 5 of us. We kind of stick together to bounce different ideas off each other. Or when like COVID-19 hit, the situation was crazy for all of our small businesses, and what we're going through right now, still today, to recover from the loss of sales or the loss of contracts or reduced sales. So having a tribe, I think that it is the good people around you, recognizing the people that needs to move around, because sometimes we got people in our circles that don't need to be there, and those people are the people that brings us down. So having people who lift you up, having people who champion your voice and your mission as a business, I think is a support that you really need. And those people come in many different forms. It could be someone that's just for a moment who gives you that one nugget of advice that keeps you going through, and it can be your relationship with the local city, and then the small business office that's sharing resources. But so I think just having you a good circle of people to support you. There was a time where in time, but in my life, I've been through a lot to actually keep this business together. About 7 years ago, I gave birth to 2 beautiful daughters. They were twins, but one of my daughters did not make it. So in that moment, I had to lean on my team, on my friends to kind of help me, while I had to help my other daughter, who was still in the hospital in the NICU, to survive. And so without having a good circle of people passionate about you and supportive of you, I don't even think I would have made it through that challenge in my life. And today, Bailey is 7 years old and she a diva, but that took a good year for me to, as a mother, to go through child loss and then still say, is this still what I want to do? Do I have the time and focus and energy to keep the business afloat? And so my friends were like, no way. So my people, my team, my circle is what supported me through that. So in a perfect world, it's having good people who has your back, who are just as committed and passionate about your company as you, that will help you in growing and sustaining your company.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that candid response, Crystal. And I mean, it goes without saying, but I feel like your energy definitely is something that, people would want to be around. So to have a leader, as it makes a difference too. So I'm sure that the audience members in your circle right now definitely would agree. So thank you for that response. And yes, it's funny that it's not a thing that you go to school for. It's something that you work on your own. You work on that circle. And a follow-up question I think I was going to ask really quickly is, how do you know that your circle's good? When did you start realizing like, oh, this is the most important thing for me? Or like, how did you realize who shouldn't be in that circle? Was that like a specific moment in time, or you just kind of
That's a really good question, Nellie, because sometimes you don't know. Because, see, some people come to your business because they want something out of your business, okay? Or they just want to know your business, okay? So I would say that that question is
Yeah.
something that I am continuing to understand. And what I've realized lately, it's about someone who's willing to sacrifice just as much as you. It is someone that when they come to you, it's not like they always want or need something. Like it's like they're willing to say, "How can I help you?" I guess that's the difference, And so, but there are people out there that just want to jump on your business ideal to be a part of your shine. And I'm talking to the audience. Y'all know them people. And so you got to really sort out the people who really want to not steal the shine from you, but be a part of your shine and can actually add to the brightness of your shine. So sometimes you got to know these people for a little bit to figure out who they really are, but you would know when someone really has who really supports you because they're asking how else you can help. Also, I think what's helpful is they refer you or connect you to other people. Like they refer you to a connection, or they may, if they know Edward, they refer you to Edward and do a virtual introduction. It's so many times virtual introductions has helped led our company to new opportunities just because a colleague or a friend said, "Hey, let me introduce you to Crystal. Her team is awesome. EdUp does great work." Bam, I'm in the door. So someone who is willing to refer, connect, or really just sacrifice and support you in all your efforts.
Nice. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's great. And so, yeah, since this question really was like for growing your business, I wanted to just quick insight for Edward, if you had anything to add to what Crystal was talking about, that support. What
Yeah,
else?
sure. So I first want to echo that I think everything Crystal said was spot on, both in your personal life and your professional life. Uh, but I also want to talk about two things that I think are also critical, and I think Crystal would agree is, your support for your business to grow. You're going to need to make sure that you have access to capital. So you're going to need to make sure that you build some sort of relationship with a bank or banker or banks, but you're going to have that free flow of financial support, because if you want to do business and you want to grow your business, you got to have access to capital. So I would say that, do the best that you can do to try to shore those up. And I think Danny provided a list of lenders that they work with um, to do just that. So that's important. And if you want to grow your business, if you're in, and I'm going to use this as in a very simplistic way, but if you're, let's say you're a plumbing company and you know your plumbing business and you know how to bid, but a plumbing company is about materials, it's about supplies. And if you don't have a good network to make sure and ensure that you have a steady flow of those supplies and materials, your business is not going to grow, because every time someone calls you for a service, you're like, well, I'm out of that, piece of equipment, or I don't have access to, that pipe, or whatever the case may be. So that the support that you need is making sure that you have a good supply chain. So those are kind of two things that we see a lot of, is people don't have access to supplies or materials, and their access to capital is really lacking. And that's probably something that a lot of small businesses, a majority of small businesses, they really have to overcome. But I would say those two things in terms of support to grow your business, make sure that you have those two things ready to go.
Okay. Yes. Awesome. And would a synonym of capital be quite literally money, Edward?
Yes, it would be money, access to capital, a line of credit, a loan. And you need to have that relationship with your bank, right? A bank is just not going to give you money. You're going to have to either, show that you've done previous work and the work is good, that you have the wherewithal to pay back the loan or a line of credit. I mean, those things are important. Just like if you try to get a loan for a home or a loan for a car, it's the same type of process. But you're doing it for your business, and your business may not have taken off as much as you would like to, but you still got to work at building that support. So that's what I would say is go out and work with economic development department, Danny and his department, and see what's out there. See how you can make sure that you're building that relationship.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much, Edward. Danny, did you want to add any words to that? In a perfect world, what kind of support do you see that businesses sometimes tell you they wish they had?
Right. You know, two very good answers by Crystal and Edward. And in our Biz Aid class, the Biz Aid or business introduction, one thing that we say is the same thing that Crystal said, is you need to build your team. A lot of the resources here are free. You know, we mentioned the business coach, the business mentor. Edward mentioned networking. So get with other businesses. You can bounce ideas off of them. If you have trusted family, friends, you can ask them advice. Taking classes, when you take online classes, a lot of the instructors will leave their email or contact information where you can bring them into your team. So even though you may not have 4 or 5 people on your staff, you can build your team up. So in a perfect world, you can run your business and you can have your team looking at the most viable options for growth, whether it's a new location, a new product, maybe moving your product into stores, what makes sense, what's the associated with all these options. So try to build your team so you don't have to build it at the last second.
Awesome. It sounds like you all are in agreement that the support that you get from your circle is second to none when it comes to starting your business, if you were the idea holder. So good to know for everyone else out there, you can't do it alone. You gotta have people on the side of your ring, it sounds like. So thank you. Wonderful. So we did have a question come up. I wanted to just reiterate that, Danny, thank you for listing those lenders. Brenda also asked a question of listing the lenders, but just a quick, shout out for what Danny had written out. There is, the City of Boston Small Business Program, and this is going to be also in the Q&A, so you can take a look at it there. SCORE, so that's all capital, of Austin, People Fund, Texas SBDC, Big Austin, BCL of Texas, and in this action, with 2 C's. So I'm going to send that over to Brenda, but just recognize that it's also in a Q&A for everyone that wants to look at that. And we'll get to the next question. We can continue on to see what is going to be a recommendation that we can start with. Danny, would you have any that for the Austin area for small business resources? So we've covered it pretty well now at this point, but specific names, like the ones you listed on there. Did you want to kind of talk a little bit about what they can offer specifically, those resources?
Sure. So I am with the City of Austin Small Business Program. We have business coaching. I'll type the link into the chat so you can connect with the small business coach, no charge today.
Shoot. So yeah, I'm so sorry. The chat has actually been disabled, but I'm trying to figure out if we can get that maybe as a question or answer it into it, because that way we can have it for everyone to look at. However, Danny, to kind of piggyback off that idea, I want after this webinar to have the resources listed, and this YouTube video will be up on YouTube on our Workforce Solutions channel. So this is a resource that's going to be reused. And this is also going to be sent out to the panelists and to the participants today. So I would be happy to get that from you, Danny, like as a list format, so we can get that out to everybody else. But yes, please continue.
Okay, so everybody will get that list today. I'll send that to Natalie. Small business program, they do have business coaches, no charge. We, like I said earlier, we contract with the University of Texas to teach our business classes. All our business classes are taught by professional business owners that have been local for 10 to 20 years. Their contact information is in the classes, so you can definitely reach out to them if you have further follow-up questions, whether it's on your business plan, finances, marketing. There's SCORE. If you go to SCORE of Austin, you can sign up to get a free business mentor. They also offer online business classes. Example, there was a customer who was looking to start a fashion business, and she was wondering what's patented, what's trademarked. So we went to SCORE, and they had a class of the legalities of fashion, and she watched the class and figured out everything she needed to know. People Fund is a small business coach and community lender. Texas Small Business Development Center, I believe that was mentioned earlier. They have offices here locally, and Round Rock and San Marcos. I believe it's all virtual now, but if we ever get back, they have 3 offices. And Edward had a good point of, you may have the best product, but if no one knows about it, then you're going to fail. So you definitely need a network. We recommend every business at least join one professional organization. There's Austin Independent Business Alliance. There's the chambers. We have all the different chambers. We have the regular Austin Chamber of Commerce, the LBGT chamber, the Asian, the Hispanic, the Black. So find something that fits you and network, have your business card ready. And, a lot of business is done by referrals. Hey, I know this guy who does my roof, or this guy mows my grass, or this guy does this, or this woman does this. So network, and I'll send these resources to Natalie so everybody can get those today.
Yes, please do, Danny. Thank you. For everyone in the audience, if you have registered, I have your email. So that's how you'll get that information out. Crystal, would you recommend any specific Austin area small business resources that have helped in those examples listed down there?
I think Danny gave us a whole list, but what I do love about Austin, EdOps Solutions, we're headquartered in Houston, and we've expanded to the Austin area as well as Dallas and San Antonio. So just finding our way into Austin, definitely the chambers. What I love about Austin is the diversity of the different chamber of commerce. I mean, come on now. It's so many different chambers. Even if you're young, we have some millennials on the call. There's the Austin Young Chamber, to help everyone feel connected and have a community. So I definitely would lean on our chamber resources. And also, Austin has a big footprint on social media. So what I've discovered is Facebook. There's Austin Small Business, Austin Entrepreneur groups that you can join, and like thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs are inside these groups. Also on LinkedIn as well, where you can connect. And then what I've noticed is that we do local meetups, or they have local meetup events just to connect entrepreneurs together. And there's this community of people helping each other promote or follow, tag their businesses. So those social groups on social media are also important to gaining you with some small business resources. In the Austin group is how I also discovered the Comcast grant for small businesses that's out because of COVID-19. So I think that in addition to the list that Danny has with the chambers, I would also say go to Facebook, Google Austin Small Business, not Google, but search Austin Small Business, Austin Entrepreneurs. There's a couple different groups that you can join, and then get in there, get in there. And get going, because we are sharing resources in those community groups to help our Austin businesses kind of start and grow. So those are what I would say.
Fantastic. Edward, anything to add before
There's
we move
always
on?
more to add, but no, Crystal and Danny did a really good job. But I'm going to just put a plug in for my department, so we are the Small Minority Business Resources Department. We're a separate department, separate from economic development. So I know that sometimes people get confused, and when they hear, "Oh, you're a small business. Oh, you're part of EDD or economic development." Like, no, we're separate. We're a separate department. But what our department is here for is to help businesses who want to do business with the city of Austin, who are small minority or women-owned businesses, who really want to say, you know what, I provide a service and it looks like the city of Austin needs that service. So we try to help them break in through that process. We try to look for opportunities when a contract or a solicitation, and a solicitation is trying to make sure that when the city needs something, it issues what we call a solicitation, which outlines the services or product that we need. So what we do as a department is we review all solicitations over $50,000 for small business opportunities. And so we review the scopes of work, we review the specifications, and if we identify areas, then we set what we call minority and women-owned participation goals. And we try to help the prime companies who are going to be providing that service, helping them meet those particular goals that are set on that particular contract. So we are there to provide a service. We are here to provide networking opportunities. We are here to help you understand how to do business with the city. We are here to get your company certified as a small business, as a minority business, as a woman-owned business. We also do a lot of work with the federal government. There's, as everybody knows, our Austin's airport is growing by leaps and bounds before COVID. And, you know, there's an annual, what we call a runway to opportunities event, which we partner with our airport department and our department to put on that event, where we bring in hundreds of companies that are interested in doing business with the Austin Aviation Department, being a presence at Austin Bergstrom International Airport. We put on an annual forum with the purchasing office to try to help folks understand how to do business with the city. What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the resources that are out there? So there are plenty of resources out there. You just have to take some time. And I know it's hard, but take some time to review those and look those up, as Crystal mentioned. If you want to find something, you can find it. It's out there. You just got to take some time to look. And I know there was a question in the chat, and so I'm going to piggyback on that. There was a question on the chat of, like, you know, I work full time and I want to do a startup. How do I do that? And unfortunately, the answer is sometimes you got to do that after hours. Sometimes you got to work, you know, after you finish your work, your 9 to 5, you got to go and eat your dinner and do your business on the side as well.
Okay,
That's
you can't sleep, huh, Edward? You can't sleep. You can't sleep on Edward.
Yes. So, you know, we're here to help as best we can. Danny and his department are here to help as best they can. But it's a lot of sweat equity at the end of the day. It's going to be on you to make sure that you take advantage of those resources. And if you're not getting help from either my department or Danny's, you know what? You ring that bell and you tell us, hey, I tried to get help and you didn't help me, because I will make sure that you get help. I may not be the department that helps you, but I will try to get you that resource that will help you. So that's my commitment today to everyone that you know is interested in doing business with the city of Austin.
You sound like a great support system, Edward. That's awesome. But yeah, you can't sleep on Edward. You're right, Crystal, because there's a lot to do for business. And in the last panel, the first one we had with what is entrepreneurship, you know, we were talking to Tina Cook with the LGBT Chamber and Natalie Lynch with Lynch Law Firm, and they echo the same exact thing. You know, you have to hustle, hustle, hustle. And, you know, for, you know, as an example, like Tina was mentioning, 5 startup businesses later, that's what I learned that I had to do. You can't sleep on it. So yeah, for our hungry high school students, for our hungry future entrepreneurs, those are soft skills. Those are communication skills. Those are personal skills that you develop as a person, and definitely something that you can do if you were passionate enough, like Crystal keeps mentioning about the work. Thank you all. Me and myself. Let's get on to the next question on for our panel. So say, this is for Edward, you can go on for this one. Say you're having a conversation with an excited future entrepreneur. So what would you ask them about their business idea to make sure that they are covering their bases, you know, as it relates to finances and a timeline for like personal deadlines that they should have? What would that look like?
Sure. So one of the things that we, you know, you probably have heard this, and it's probably like, you still need one of those. But yes, you do still need one of those. And that one of those is a business plan. You need to have something that's really going to talk about what you want to do with this business. What services are you providing? What sort of, again, we're going to hit on and harp on the capital, right? But that is a day-to-day fact about a business. What do you do to access your capital? How are you making sure that your business idea is something that someone wants to buy or purchase? You may have a great idea, but at the end of the day, no one's buying it. If that's the case, then how do you make sure that they understand that they need that service? They may not even know they need it. So how do you persuade them that they need that service? So those are the type of things that I think that a business plan will help you navigate through. If you have a strong business plan, when you go speak to those lenders, they're going to want to see, well, what's your plan? And you just can't say, well, I have a great idea, because that's not going to carry any water. You need to be able to show them, here's my plan, and it's going to be detailed. It's going to even show a growth pattern from year 1 to year 5. Where do I want to be in 5 years? So you need to make sure you have all that. I mean, and that takes time as well. But there are entities out there, again, harping on the idea of resources. There are folks out there that will help you try to put together a good business plan that will be, that you can, you know, you can see other business plans and model yours after that. But you always want to make sure you're going to be unique as much as possible, that you're providing a service that maybe somebody else isn't providing, or a service that somebody's providing, but you can provide it better. So it's those things that I would be talking to an entrepreneur about. It's not just you have passion. Passion is a big component, as Crystal mentioned, and we agree. But you got to have that idea backed up with your facts, your information, your data, and a way to get your company off the ground. If you don't have that, then it's a good idea that died. So we don't want your idea to die. We want it to grow and flourish. And so those are the things that I would be talking to the future entrepreneur about. You know, how are you going to do this? It's a great idea, but how are you going to do it?
And Edward, follow-up question, is that a conversation you have a lot? Is that the norm?
We do have it with a lot of companies that are small, that want to break in with the city of Austin. They want to be contractors with the city of Austin, but again, they're small and they just don't know how to do it, and they just don't know, you know, do they have access to QuickBooks? Do you even know what QuickBooks is? And you know, do you have supplies in order to do that job that company's going to be asking you to do, or that city department's going to be asking you to do? You have to do that, and you have to know what the facts and the basics of your business are. So that's going to be very important, because again, you can have the skill set that is, you know, can't be matched by anyone. But if you don't have that business background to see how you're going to deliver that excellent skill set, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And people are not forgiving. That's the thing. We that are around the table, we're forgiving because we're not actually buying that stuff. But the folks that are buying, they're not going to forgive you if you mess up. They're going to say, hey, I'm going to take your contract and you didn't meet your requirements, so it's done. And we don't want that to happen. So we're doing everything in the forefront to make sure that that doesn't happen. That if you sign a contract with the city or with a prime contractor that you're doing a sub agreement with, that you know what you're doing, so that you can stay on that contract and you can get the money, you can get paid. So that's what this is all about. So.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. Danny, I would want to pass it on to you now. It's also being with the city of Austin. So what would you tell an excited future entrepreneur about kind of like, what do they need besides their business plan?
Right. So good points by Edward. One of the first things that we look at is business plan, but you know, what's your niche? What's your niche? What differentiates you from the competition? Why do I want to go to your restaurant versus someone else's restaurant? So for successful businesses here locally or anywhere around the world, they have to have a niche. Are you the quickest service? Are you the best quality, the freshest ingredients, voted #1 locally? What's your niche? Find out what it is. Everybody's going to have one, and you need to capitalize on that niche. Number 2, who's your customer? You know, Austin's big and it's only getting bigger. When people come in and say, well, my customers are in Austin. Well, that's not right. You haven't figured out who your customers are yet. If you're a small business within a community, it may be a couple blocks. Who are you targeting your marketing to? You need to find out who your customers are. 3, I would say what a lot of lenders look at is your break-even point. So when you go sit down with someone, know what your break-even point is. Break-even point is if you're borrowing money, when is that loan paid off and when are you going to start making money? So know when your break-even point is. And the last thing is what's your future strategy? A lot of small businesses get started and they have this business plan done, but they have not put a lot of time in future strategy. What I'm talking about is, in a couple of years, are you going to move into a brick and mortar location? Are you going to open another retail store in 3 years? What is your exit strategy? A lot of people get burned out because they do this for 4 or 5 years, working 50 to 60 hours a week, and they don't have a follow-up, a future strategy. So make sure you include that in your business plan, and your exit strategy, your future strategy can save you a lot of heartache in a couple of years.
So you had to, it sounds that's also like a skill to be able to see that far into the future. Is that something that you had to work with entrepreneurs on being able to do as well, being able to see into the future that long, like in your specific role, Danny?
There's a lot of flexibility in this.
Mm.
Just because you put something on paper doesn't mean it's the gospel. We have experienced that in the last couple months. A lot of businesses have pivoted from what they typically do to something different. And a lot of people will write the business plan and put it in the shelf and not look at it again. But just be prepared to pivot, make adjustments to your plan, and just know it's not the gospel, but it's just kind of like a guideline of what you really want to do.
That's awesome. Thank you, Danny. Krista, we're gonna pass it on to you. This is our final question, so I'll open up afterwards to more comments, but I wanted to ask you then, as president of EdOps Solutions, you're talking to a mentoree and they're excited as a future entrepreneur. What can you tell them about their business idea? Has this happened before? What bases did you have to cover, and what bases would they have to cover as well?
Well, good question. I think that for EdOp, we've coached and trained a lot of future entrepreneurs, probably hundreds of entrepreneurs throughout the years. And I'm so excited that they're excited about their business ideal. But what I recognize is sometimes it is the baker who has the ideal. So you have a lady who wants to bake cookies and sell cookies, and she loves her cookies, but that's all she know is that her cookies are good. So you have to recognize that your business ideal is going to be something that's bigger than yourself. And so if you have a good cookie and you can bake a good cookie, you've got to recognize, how do you make this cookie of value to your customer? So basically how Edward talked about making sure you have your target audience, and also Danny, you can have a great business ideal, but if it doesn't sell, if nobody understands or recognize its value, then it's just a business ideal. So what we've done is kind of help excited entrepreneurs identify their UVP, which stands for your unique value proposition statement. So I would first say, okay, what makes your business ideal unique? How is it adding value? Who is your target audience? Where, and then even like Danny says, where do you want this ideal to be? Because there's a separation between the person who creates the business and the person who begins to manage the business, and it's still you. And as a baker, you created this fantastic cookie, but now you have to make the cookie a business, and it's two different types of mindsets and values you have to have as a person. So you have to be able to transition yourself from that baker who has a great cookie to the business owner of the cookie shop. And so I think that's the difference to help you move your business ideal to reality, is recognizing that you have to move into business ownership mindset, having that entrepreneurship mindset, not just having a great cookie, so to speak. And so I think that helps you to identify your unique value proposition. And also we kind of established 4 guiding principles that I would think would be successful for any entrepreneur. That's for you. It's called the 4 Ps. And so the first P is purpose. As you move to become an entrepreneur and making your business a reality, you have to stay true to your purpose. So that's identifying your mission, your guiding principles as a company, because you're developing a company. You're not just selling a cookie, okay? And so you got to know your purpose, because your purpose is what's going to help you make it through as your company continues to grow, as you get denied from different things. If the deal didn't go right, you got to remember what your purpose and what you're standing on. And then 2, people. And I would say people is both internal and external. So create a list. Who are the people that you need? So people from a customer perspective and people from a resources or internal perspective. What type of people? You might need a little social media help. You might need a marketing person to do your logo. So identify the people that you need to help you move from ideal to reality. And 3, which is I think is the biggest P where a lot of entrepreneurs kind of miss this step, is your processes. We like to just go out there and start selling the cookie without recognizing, oh, do I need a website? How am I going to process the cookies? What if I get an order of 100 cookies? What do I do now? So what are your processes for your operation? What steps are needed? What's your processes to acquire your customer to get to that sale? So a lot of people just want to just go out there and hustle the cookie. But if you're trying to do things like working with Edward and Danny and working with the city and getting a contract, you got to have some true processes in place to compete and bid for city contracts. So don't skip that P and don't fall asleep on that P. And the last P is performance. I think that you should not only have your goals, but what are they call them key performance indicator, but how do you know when you're successful? What is your desired outcome for your company? And so keeping a track of your performance, and performance is big. It can go financial. What is your key financial performance? I remember if I go back to my business plan, which Danny says, yes, you have to update it. I consider a business plan a living document. And I promise you, I can pull out my business plan from 2000, when I started, 2009. 11 years ago. And often, especially when COVID-19 hit, I reviewed that business plan, and the business plan that I created in 2020, I looked at that as well. I'm like, okay, look how much I've grown. I remember I had a goal that said, make your first $1,000. I was just trying to get to the first $1,000 when I first started my company. And I'm like, well, Lord, because I'm a spiritual person too. Well, Lord, I passed that. I passed that goal. Okay. But it took me to put that as a performance goal, a performance metric, to say, okay, I want to achieve my first $1,000 within a certain number of months or a certain number of time frames. So I think that once you look at identifying your purpose, your people, what processes, the actual steps of the operations to make this business go, and then the performance to hold yourself accountable. A lot of people don't realize the shift that your mind has to make to go from employee to entrepreneur. That's a big shift, to say that as an employee, you had to respond to your supervisor, and now as an entrepreneur, you are your own supervisor. There is nobody else that's going to tell you what to do but yourself. And so you got to put in accountability and ownership on yourself to take this business ideal to reality. I think a lot of people think somebody going to do something for them, but you are your own boss now. And so making that shift from employee to CEO is another thing that I think will help you be successful, and help you to keep that level of excitement to keep going with your business. So hopefully have 4 P's, your unique value proposition statement, and making sure you go from employee to entrepreneurship, because those two mindsets and attitudes are different.
Amazing. Fantastic. Love it. Yeah, thank you, Crystal. That was very well said. For anyone that, for all
Still
our
getting
audience.
excited. I want to start my business now.
I know, yeah, Crystal, come
Come on,
on.
Elwood, let's go, Elwood. Look, I'm going to call you, Elwood. Let's go. Let's go.
I think that like everyone that's watching this in the audience probably feels a little more inspired now after that. Thank you so much. Because yeah, it's something that like it's all these conversations that a lot of times entrepreneurs may not be able to have with somebody like our panelists today. So that's the reason that we're hosting this, right? Is for them to realize that there are few things, or maybe a lot of things, that they haven't even considered. A follow-up question, Crystal, for high school students specifically, since that's a population that Shannon and I serve specifically. What's kind of like your opinion on like a really young entrepreneur? Is it like, is it not their time yet? Do you think that, they need to do a lot? Or are they able to do it at the age of 18, 19, 20? Like, is that feasible for someone?
Yes, I love my high school students. Okay, whoop within the audience. Okay, because high school students, we actually have entrepreneurship program. We've done entrepreneurship programming for high school students in the past as well. And so what I love about high school students is that they are true risk takers, like especially with the age of social media. I found that high school students and young people don't mind putting themselves out there and building their brand. So I think you build your brand first as a high school student. What do you believe in? What are your champion? What I've heard from high school students is just this passion for our city, our world, our community. And so start identifying your personal brand first. What separates you as you develop your business and your leadership? What separates you from other high schoolers? So I think building your personal brand and then creating your mark in the world through your social media profile. Remember, you're going to be looking a little bit different from the other students that go to school because your brand on social media is about your business passion. It's about you inspiring and motivating others. So I think if you start there first, you will get to the business ideal. I've noticed there was a guy, his name was oh, what's his business thing? Well, he worked into working on prep, college prep. What he wanted to do was to help people. He young to fresh out of high school. I think about 2 or 3 years out of high school, and he wanted to, because of his experience going through college, he wanted to help people with college prep and tutoring for the SAT. And so when he came, he actually did some of a training program as well to start his business. But what I learned about him was his passion and his personal brand to, and what he believed in, his purpose and what he believed to help his students out or help his other friends out with college prep and tutoring. And what I noticed from him is he did it with like fierceness. So and he got funding, he got donations, everything, because he was not afraid to share his story and be fierce in what he believed in. So I think definitely for high school students, you got it. And so, if you need some help, reach out to me as well. But I think high school students got it by just creating that personal brand and being fierce in what you believe in.
Man, awesome. Really quick comment. Just we had a question. And is Crystal's business actually located at Op Solutions in Austin via an address?
Yes, we're located off of I-35, and so I can send that information to Natalie as well. So yes, we are local here in the Austin area, and you can also give us a call. I'll give that information to Natalie to help you out with that.
Thanks, Crystal. Appreciate that. And Brenda just gave us a shout out. Just really great information from the audience and our panel. So you have all broken it
I
down.
need to chime in if I could.
Please.
So you had asked Crystal about, whether or not are you too young to be an entrepreneur? And I don't want folks to, it's never too young. You're never too young. And if you recall, there's a young lady here in Austin, Michaela Umer, and she started the Bees and Me lemonade. And she just had a good idea about what she can do to save the bees. And she's making lemonade, and she's now in Whole Foods all across the country. She's 13 years old, African-American young lady who's showing how to be a boss. So you're never too young if you have a great idea. So don't let the age stop you. Go for it.
Love that. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much, Edward, for that. Crystal, Danny, so much for all this work. And Shannon, if we can just go to that last page, because y'all, that was it. I'm really, really so grateful for your time today. It's a different world that we're in right now. And I really appreciate the support that you are offering our audience, that you've had, and all the resources that are out there, because I don't want anyone to think that they have to be alone in this journey if they want to take the journey. So that's the reason why we're here today. And for our audience, this will be a recorded video on our YouTube channel. Just wanted to put that one more time out there. We have our social media platforms. We say it's very important. It's because it is. That's the way we're working in the world. So just wanted to say again, thank you so much for everyone. And yes, we're just really excited to be able to offer 2 more sessions as well. So for those that are in our virtual fairs for how to hire and be hired today, you can definitely go ahead, because we're starting very soon for our next one. So tune in for that. Danny, Crystal, Edward, you were so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, Nelly. Thank you to Edward and Danny. Yay.
Y'all both great to be on a great panel with y'all.
Thank you, Crystal.
for the
Thanks,
invite,
Edward, Natalie. Thank you.
Of course, remember, information to come. So let's send that out to our registrant attendees. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.